Have you ever wondered why some of your decisions seem spot on, while others leave you scratching your head? The truth is, we're all guilty of cognitive errors, those sneaky traps in our minds that make us overthink, second-guess, or follow the crowd blindly. It's frustrating, isn't it? What if I told you that mastering your thinking could make life not just easier, but exponentially better? Here's the kicker. Clear thinking isn't about being a genius. It's about avoiding the pitfalls that trip us up daily. By the time you finish this, you'll see the world differently, like Neo in the Matrix, decoding hidden patterns in everyday choices. Intrigued? Good. Let's unravel the art of thinking clearly, one bias at a time. Direct it, avoiding mental pitfalls. Humans are hardwired for shortcuts. Think of cognitive biases as a fast food of mental processing, quick, tempting, but often unhealthy. Take the sunk cost fallacy. We cling to a Netflix series we hate just because we're already 4 episodes deep. Recognizing these traps is like having a mental GPS. It steers you away from emotional dead ends. Start small. Question your daily habits. Why do you always buy that brand of coffee? Is it taste or marketing? A clear mind isn't born. It's trained. Ever heard of the sympathy bias? We often say yes to people we like, even when logic screams no. Picture a co-worker dumping their workload on you with a charming smile. Spotting this bias lets you set boundaries without guilt. Tools like journaling or mindfulness can help you catch these errors before they snowball. Here's a relatable one. Social proof. When everyone's raving about a new gadget, don't you feel a pull to join in? That's your herd mentality talking. Combat it by asking yourself, do I really need this, or am I just FOMO-ing? Clear thinking doesn't mean overanalyzing. It's about pausing to think smarter. Speaking of pausing, let's dive into those unexpected, world-shaking Black Swan events. Black Swan events. Picture this. It's October 19th, 1987. The stock market plummets 22% in a single day. Nobody saw it coming. A textbook Black Swan event. These unpredictable disasters can shake lives, economies, and even the strongest of minds. The lesson? Always expect the unexpected. Think of it as building a financial umbrella before the storm hits. But it's not just about money. Relationships, careers, and health are just as vulnerable to black swans. Imagine neglecting your fitness for years, only to face a sudden health crisis. Preparing isn't paranoia, it's prudence. Keep a what-if mindset. A savings buffer, a backup plan, or even learning first aid can be life-changing. The beauty of black swans is that they're also opportunities. Think of businesses that thrived during the pandemic by pivoting overnight. Being adaptable isn't just smart, it's survival. And if you think adaptability sounds hard, wait until we dissect how social proof drives so many of our bad decisions. Social proof phenomenon. Ever notice how a packed restaurant feels more appealing than an empty one? That's social proof in action. Solomon Asch's famous experiment proved how easily we conform. 33% of participants gave wrong answers just to match the group. So, the next time everyone's raving about that overhyped movie, pause and trust your instincts. Social proof isn't all bad. It can guide us when we lack information, like choosing a reputable doctor based on reviews. But it becomes dangerous when it blinds us. Think of financial bubbles. People rush into investments because everyone's doing it, only to face crushing losses. The trick? Follow data, not noise. You can break free from herd mentality by embracing independence. Instead of following trends, create them. Ask, what aligns with my values and goals? And speaking of aligning with goals, let's explore why people cling to bad investments thanks to the infamous sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy. Why is it so hard to walk away from something that's clearly not working? That's the sunk cost fallacy whispering in your ear. It's the reason people stay in toxic relationships or hold on to failing investments. They've already invested too much. Imagine spending 2 hours in a boring movie just because you paid for the ticket. Sounds silly, right? Yet, we all fall into this trap. The key is to shift focus from what you've lost to what you can gain moving forward. Breaking free from this fallacy is like learning to swim against the tide. Start small. Declutter your closet. Why hold on to clothes you never wear? The same principle applies to life's bigger decisions. Evaluate based on future value, not past effort. Think about quitting a project that drains your time and energy. Instead of guilt, frame it as creating space for opportunities that truly matter. Recognizing sunk costs requires courage. It's not about admitting defeat. It's about choosing progress over stagnation. Just ask anyone who's pivoted careers after years in the wrong field. Speaking of bold moves, let's dive into how reciprocity can influence decisions, both positively and manipulatively. Reciprocity and manipulation. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Sounds fair, doesn't it? That's reciprocity in action, a principle so ingrained in us that it's both a strength and a vulnerability. Marketers know this well. Think of free samples at a store. You feel a subtle nudge to buy, right? It's no coincidence. It's psychology. But here's the twist. Reciprocity doesn't always mean fairness. Used wisely, reciprocity fosters genuine connections. For instance, helping a friend move might spark an offer to babysit when you need it most. But when manipulated, it can trap you. Ever felt pressured to accept a pricey invitation after someone bought you coffee? Recognizing these tactics helps you say no without guilt. To leverage reciprocity authentically, focus on giving without strings attached. Share knowledge. Like recommending a great book, the art of thinking clearly fits, doesn't it? The key is intention, not obligation. While reciprocity is about balance, envy often throws us completely off track. Let's tackle that next. Controlling envy. Envy sneaks in when you least expect it. Maybe a friend's flashy car or a colleague's promotion stirs that pang of comparison. But envy isn't inherently bad. It's a compass. Redirected positively, it can inspire growth instead of resentment. Think of it as fuel for self-improvement. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? One practical approach is gratitude. Sounds cliché, but it works. List what you're proud of, big or small. Shifting focus to your achievements silences that nagging voice of inadequacy. And let's be real. Behind the scenes, that person you envy is probably battling struggles you can't see. Envy feeds on unrealistic comparisons. Social media, anyone? You're comparing your rough draft to someone else's highlight reel. The antidote is self-awareness. What truly matters to you? By answering that, you're already one step closer to clarity. And speaking of clarity, have you ever felt overwhelmed by too many options? That's our next stop, the paradox of choice. Paradox of choice. Ever stood in the cereal aisle, staring at 64 options, only to walk away with nothing? That's the paradox of choice at work. The more options we have, the harder it is to decide, and the less satisfied we are with our choice. It's like dating apps. Swipe endlessly, and you'll start questioning whether the perfect option even exists. Simplification, my friend, is the ultimate life hack. Take small steps to reduce decision fatigue. Start with your wardrobe. Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit daily, not because he lacked style, but because it freed his brain for bigger decisions. Apply this principle to your grocery list, morning routines, or even your career path. Fewer choices often mean more focus. The trick is knowing what truly matters. Identify your priorities and ignore the rest. Feeling overwhelmed by life's buffet of options? Try flipping the script. Instead of asking, what should I do? Ask, what should I stop doing? And while we're on the topic of expertise, let's explore the dangers of chauffeur knowledge. Chauffeur knowledge. Imagine a driver reciting Einstein's theories without actually understanding them. Sounds impressive, right? That's chauffeur knowledge, surface-level expertise that crumbles under scrutiny. Social media is filled with it. Influencers sharing financial advice without ever investing a dime. Spotting this kind of pseudo-expertise is a survival skill in today's world. Here's a litmus test. Ask questions. True experts thrive on curiosity, while faux experts deflect or oversimplify. Ever noticed a pundit on TV making sweeping claims without data? That's Chauffeur Knowledge in action. It's your cue to dig deeper. Trust but verify, that's the mantra. To avoid falling for it, prioritize substance over style. A flashy presentation is meaningless without real understanding. Whether it's choosing a mentor, a financial advisor, or even a plumber, look for results, not just words. And speaking of results, let's examine how liking bias skews our decisions in ways we barely notice. Liking bias. Admit it, charming people are hard to say no to. That's the power of the liking bias. We're naturally drawn to those who are attractive, share our interests, or shower us with compliments. But here's the catch. Liking someone doesn't make them right. A persuasive smile can cloud even the sharpest judgment. Marketers exploit this constantly. Think of charismatic influencers promoting skincare products. Their glowing complexion convinces you, even though they're probably genetically blessed. The lesson? Focus on the product, not the person. Is it truly worth your money? Ask questions, and don't be swayed by appearances. This bias isn't all bad. It can build connections and trust when used authentically. Imagine closing a business deal simply by finding common ground with a client. But to master the liking bias, you need to be self-aware and prepared to challenge your gut instincts. Now, let's wrap this all up and talk about turning knowledge into action. Clear thinking is your superpower, but like any skill, it requires practice. Are you ready to stop falling into traps like the sunk cost fallacy or being swayed by social proof? Imagine making decisions with confidence, spotting manipulations, and turning envy into motivation. How would your life change if you started applying these lessons today? Here's a challenge. Choose one concept from this guide and apply it this week. Maybe it's simplifying choices or questioning surface-level expertise. Share your experience in the comments. What worked? What didn't? Remember, clarity isn't about perfection. It's about progress. If you're serious about transforming your mind, hit that subscribe button on the Books That Transform channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications, because the journey to clear thinking doesn't stop here. Let's keep growing, learning, and making smarter decisions together. You've got this. Light bulb.